This line between religious beliefs, freedom of speech, is there a line that should be drawn?
Well, ultimately, no. I mean, I think we just have speech, right? We just have a contest of ideas. And when ideas actually matter, we really need our best ideas to be operative. Ideas about human freedom, ideas about political tolerance, equality among people. I mean, these are ideas that we really can't afford to compromise on. And I would say that extends to just a rational understanding of the way the world works, right? So we can't compromise on scientific truth or historical truth or journalistic truth, ultimately. And I mean, I think there's certainly scope for civility and pragmatism and politeness and picking your battles. But the general picture here is that there's only one religion on earth at the moment that imagines that even non-members of the religion should be obliged to live by its strictures, right? So all religions, or certainly most religions, have some concept of blasphemy. They don't like it when their sacred objects or sacred places or sacred figures are defamed. But there is only one religion that will murder you for doing anything like that, and really with a full clarity of conscience among even majorities in many communities will call for the murder of blasphemers or idolaters or others who try to traduce the sacred tenets of the faith, even if they're not part of the faith. And that religion is, of course, Islam in its various forms. And so there is a contest between this kind of fundamentalist intolerance and modernity. And if we were dealing with the Christians of the 14th century, well, we would have a similar contest with Christians, but we're not, happily. I was
going to reference another interview, actually, with Richard Dawkins, when I asked him about speaking out like this in the way that you've been doing just now. And his reply was really I found it quite chilling, actually. Take a look. Are you worried did you get threats because of the positions you've taken on some of these things? Yeah. When you saw what happened to Salman Rushdie, didn't send a shutter through? Yeah. Are you saying, no, you don't want to talk about it? Or
yes.
Right. I mean, that's interesting in itself. Because there are areas which you would prefer not to discuss.
Yes. I should have said that before we started.
Yeah. No, but listen, I think it's sad that you can't. I don't think anything should be off limits in interviews with people like you. Mm. I mean, I thought that was really interesting that someone like Dawkins just would not answer out of fear, it turned out.
I mean, right now, if you go on ChatGPT-4 and ask it to tell you a joke about Jesus, it will tell you a joke about Jesus. And if you ask it to tell you a joke about Buddha, it will tell you a joke about Buddha. They're not good jokes, but it'll tell you jokes. But if you ask it to tell you a joke about Muhammad, it will refuse because of the religious sensitivities of Muslims. This is the kind of thing that can get embassies burned in a dozen cities, right? I mean, this is just, there's nothing like this coming from any other religion. With Islam, we have to recognize that it deserves all of the respect that every other religion does, and all of the patience that every other religion does in a pluralistic and diverse society, but no more, right? And we're literally building it into our most advanced artificial intelligence, this double standard, and we're doing it out of fear, right? We can call it religious tolerance. It's just we have been successfully bullied into having a double standard, and it's dysfunctional, and it's ultimately dangerous. I mean, the problem for Salman Rushdie was that there weren't 10,000 Salman Rushdies the very next day, as there should have been, and that's why he had this asymmetric risk for decades, and ultimately suffered a terrible attack. We should stand shoulder to shoulder with Salman, and I'm not saying Richard wasn't doing that. Richard's an extraordinarily brave public intellectual, and he's been on the front lines of this debate for decades.
Sam Harris, great to talk to you. I really appreciate it. Your podcast is making sense. You make a lot of sense. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you very much.